Welcome to Artist Books Unshelved. In this episode, we have two books that explore how erasure focuses our attention on how things change, transfer, and ultimately disappear. The Record by Anne Covell and After by Josh Hockensmith. Anne Covell is a book artist and papermaker in San Diego, California. Amidst the transition from the Obama to the Trump administration, Cavell was angry and distressed by what was happening in the White House. Using the Internet Archive as a resource, Cavell created The Record in response to some of the changes she found alarming. She learned that on January 20th, 2017, the first day of Donald Trump's presidential term, key policy pages of the Obama administration were not simply replaced on the whitehouse.gov website. In fact, they were systematically taken down, effectively erasing any federal acknowledgement of issues like criminal justice reform, healthcare, disabilities, equal pay, climate change, and social progress. These texts are the Obama-era policies published on whitehouse.gov. The timestamps on the tabs note the Internet Archive's last screen captures of when that information was available. The pages fold down. The policies are gone. Now the requested pages can't be found. In one particularly insidious phrasing, you are not authorized to access this page. The timestamp on the accompanying tab indicates when the Internet Archive screen captures shifted to error messages after the previous policy pages came down. Below the 404 errors are the powerful white marks we find across this book. They forcefully rise from below, at once architectural and ghostly, a whitewash rushing up the page. Cavell told me she wanted these marks to reflect the aggressive action of suppression. I feel it. These marks make me apprehensive, worried about what is coming and what is being taken away. Cavell's process in making this book complements these themes of whiting out and removal. The accordion portion of the book was printed on a single sheet of paper. She began by printing white, oil-based ink on white paper. Then Cavell used a black, sumi ink wash to reveal the text and marks on the printed paper. I first read this book laying flat, opening the tabbed pages one by one. As I closed the book and turned it around to look at the back, I noticed that the tabbed pages fall down. If you pull the book open, all of the panels fall at once. Cavell noted that when she made The Record in the spring of 2017, few of these policies had been updated by the Trump administration. Most had not been replaced at all, abandoning us with no acknowledgement or plan from our federal government. Josh Hockensmith is a book artist who publishes under the name Blue Bluer Books. When he began creating After, Hockensmith wanted to explore the life of books and printed materials in the digital age. After is a dos-a-dos binding. Both sides of this book act as front covers, so we can enter the book from either side, but Hockensmith has given us some direction. We are met by a portrait that immediately brings to my mind the transfer of ink from a printed image onto a facing page. These are, in fact, photographs of just such transferred images found on the transparent interleaving in a catalog of paintings from 1929. Hockensmith isolated the ghost images and photographed them for his book. He told me that he loved the ghost images as evidence that books live long enough to age and to show signs of their aging. The text is letterpress printed with a deep impression. Some of the words are covered with black, others with gold. Some are left available for us to read with ease. The original source text comes from a sequence of poems titled Skeletons, written by the Zen Buddhist monk and poet Ikkyu in the 15th century. Hockensmith chose these poems as they speak to the transitory nature of all things. Hockensmith printed Ikkyu's poems in their entirety before brushing over selected words to create a new blackout poem. This new poem gently evokes what Hockensmith described to me as afterness. I find his decision to isolate words from an existing text, as opposed to composing it from a blank page, complements the idea of transitioning from one thing to another. Like the ghost images, there is an impression of what came before. Since the obscured text is still legible, I find myself going back and forth, considering the different ways I might read this. The gold particularly had me thinking. It's obscuring the words, but highlighting them at the same time. Hockensmith carefully chose which words would be part of his blackout poem, but I was surprised to learn that there was chance methodology involved too. He used a sheet of randomized numbers between 1 and 4 that was created for a collaborative project by John Cage and Hockensmith's mentor, Stephen Addis. Hockensmith used the numbers to determine how many words he would obscure with one ink before switching to the other. The shift between black and gold changes every 1 to 4 words. Each copy in this edition of 25 actually has a different pattern of coloration. The pacing remains steady for many pages. Text, ghost image, after title. Then, suddenly, a fingertip? I'm pulled out of the rhythm of the book and wonder who this is and where I am now. I look to the accompanying text for clues, but I don't recognize any. And then this side of the book ends. The text in Part 2 continues exploring Hockensmith's idea of afterness. The images are moving in a different direction, though. The world outside of the book starts to creep in. And then, here we are, into a physical world. While working on this book, Hockensmith noticed a spore print from a fern left out on a table. Recognizing a relationship to the transferred ghost images, the fern inspired him to expand beyond thinking only about the longevity of books in print, and to explore ideas and instances of leaving behind and afterness in the physical world all around him. The last image relates to the earlier After Sparrow page. Months after photographing the sparrow, he noticed a small wren hopping about the same spot where the dead sparrow laid. The wren moved too much for a clear photo, so Hockensmith took the opportunity to break with the realist aesthetic of the other images. Here, he has made a digital manipulation, speaking toward the rise of whatever new and lively thing comes next. Wren after sparrow, digital after print. The section ends with the final text of the blackout poem. Writing something to leave behind is yet another kind of dream. We close the book and can begin again on the first side. After will always come. The cycle continues indefinitely. The record makes me feel the discomfort and foreboding from suddenly absent information. Focusing on what is left behind, After gently steers me towards the beauty of impermanence. Both books powerfully underscore the transient nature of digital information, print, and even life itself.